Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a special evening Hamwic Christmas show.
See some horrible spirits in you. These spirits are going to destroy you.
I promise you there's something for everyone tonight.
Evil, the devil is building up.
Merry Christmas to all my Hamwic friends. We've got a packed night of entertainment this evening.
I'd like to really welcome the Fisher Plum family.
O Tannenbaum, wie treu sind deine Blätter.
We're going to have some sketches based on TV comedy. We're going to have a quiz hosted by Guy. We're also going to have some poetry. And Jack, can you give us the joke for the evening?
Christmas dinner. How does Darth Vader like his turkey?
On the dark side.
Grandma's got run over by a reindeer, walking home from our house Christmas Eve.
Dreadful!
I'm gonna go find some more lighting. You guys think I needed more lighting?
Yes.
So, Jack, Stuart, Alexandra, can you give us the professor's interview?
But in the forefront on this field is Professor Timothy Fielding
Good evening.
and his experiments with a gorilla called Gerald.
Oh.
How has Gerald reacted to being separated from his family?
Well, to begin with, he did make various attempts to make contact with
his old flange of gorillas. Look, I know you've never got on with my mother.
Well, she didn't exactly like me, did she?
She got on perfectly well with David Attenborough.
David Attenborough. All I hear is
David bloody Attenborough.
oh, shut up. Eat a banana or something.
This is taken from a show, Mitchell and Webb. Andrew, Benjamin, Dana and Rob, can you give us your edition of the drinks party?
Parking round here. It's an absolute nightmare, isn't it?
Have reversed into the tiniest of spaces.
Still, I managed it. Parking's not exactly brain surgery, is it?
And I should know.
I'm a brain surgeon. What do you guys do?
I'm an accountant.
Filling in those tax forms can get really confusing, can't it?
Are you an accountant too?
No, I work for a charity.
That's a great job, isn't it? I really admire you for doing that. I mean, it's not exactly brain surgery, is it?
So, Jeff, how do you earn a crust?
I'm a scientist.
I work mainly with rockets. It's pretty tough work. What do you do?
Well, I don't want to boast about it.
I'm a brain surgeon.
Oh, brain surgery. It's not exactly rocket science, is it?
For our next sketch, it's going to be a classic from Monty Python. So can Gia, Richard B, Richard J and Adrian give us their rendition of the Four Yorkshire Men?
Who'd have thought 40 years ago that we'd be sitting here drinking Chateau de Chasselas?
I would have been glad of the price of a cup of tea then.
We never used to have a cup. We used to have to drink out a rolled up newspaper.
Best we could manage was to suck on a piece of damp cloth.
My old dad used to say to me, money doesn't buy you happiness, son.
He was right. I was happier then. I had nothing. We used to live in a tiny, tumble-down old house with great holes in the roof.
House? You were lucky to have an house. We used to live in one room, all 126 of us, no furniture.
You were lucky to have a room. We used to have to live in a corridor.
Corridor? I used to dream of living in a corridor. That would have been a palace to us.
When I say house, it was all the hole-in ground covered by a piece of tarpaulin.
We were evicted from our rolling ground. We had to go live in a lake.
You were lucky to have a lake. There were 160 of us living in a small shoebox.
Cardboard box?
Right.
You were lucky.
We lived for 3 months in brown paper bag and septic tank.
Luxury. We used to get out at lake at 3 in the morning, eat a handful of hot gravel, go to work at mill every day for twopence a month, come home and Dad would beat us round head and neck with a broken bottle, if we were lucky.
Paradise.
I had to get up in the morning at 10 o'clock at night, half an hour before I went to bed, work 29 hours a day down mill, and pay mill owner for permission to come to work. And when we got home, our Dad would kill us and dance about on our grave.
Aye, but you try to tell young people today that. Would they believe you?
And we can move on to our sadly final sketch. So, George, Gillian, can you give us your rendition from Father Ted?
Now then, who's for tea?
No, I'm fine, Mrs. Doyle.
You won't have a cup?
I won't have a cup.
Ah, go on. Would you not have a drop? Go on, go on.
Tell you what, Father, I'll pour
Seriously?
a cup for you anyway.
Ted! I haven't missed the ceremony, have I?
Father, are you going to introduce me to the new father?
I'll tell you what. Why don't you have a guess?
God, Father, sure it could be anything. Father Andy Riley.
No!
Father Stuart Seamus Oshin, to be sure.
Father Jemima Racktool.
Father George Andy Dragunia Noella.
Yes!
O Tannenbaum, O Tannenbaum, dies sind deine Blätter.
Merry Christmas!
That is the end of Hamwic Speakers 2020. See you next year.
Or one thing about Hamwic is I don't think I've ever experienced the same meeting twice. So I just I love that we don't stand still. We're always moving. We're always cutting edge and moving the needle and any other cliche that one could think of.